Jacob. Now, as we continue to celebrate women in sports doing great things this month, today we chat to Banyana Banyana striker Thembi Kgatlana, who recently moved to Spain after signing with Eibar. Now, Kgatlana joined the club from Portuguese champions Benfica, which she left earlier this month, despite only joining in Jan on a 2.5-year deal. I think she was the 6th Banyana Banyana player to sign a contract abroad, just to show you how well they're doing for themselves as women in football. Now, I caught up with her earlier this week, and she lets us in on her flourishing career and what it takes to be a successful woman footballer and what she feels needs to be done for gender equality in football.
Thembi, thank you very much for joining us here on the show. Obviously, we are celebrating Women's Month, and we just saw it fit to just chat to you as you have achieved so much in your career. It's starting off with congratulations, obviously, with your move to Spain. How has it been for you, and how have you been settling in with the team?
Sure, it's been good to get to Spain, but you know, it's almost, the season is about to start, and it's been crazy since I got here. I joined the girls, I joined the team. I was like, I've been here for quite a long time, you know. I didn't get so much time to kind of like settle, you know, where they give you like a week to know the place. I never got that privilege. I went straight into training because it's preseason and we are about a month before our first match of the league. So the sooner I go to training, the better, because then I would be able to adapt to the weather, to the climate, get to know the girls, and make sure that it's very important that I adjust as soon as possible to be able to know the team, the coaches, the girls, the system, what to expect and what they should also expect from me.
I mean, obviously, we know that you've established yourself in football. You've gone to the United States, you've gone to China, played for Benfica. Moving from one country to the next as a player, how do you prepare yourself mentally to make sure that, listen, this is a new environment for me and I need to make sure that I flourish no matter what the circumstances are?
I think first of all, you need to remember where you come from. You know, if you first remember that, then it's easier for you to know where you are going. You know, I know I'm from South Africa. We don't have a professional league. So wherever I go, there's no time for me to sulk because a lot of girls are actually looking for the opportunity to be where I am. So for me to also create other opportunities for those girls that are back at home is to adjust as soon as possible, you know, to make sure that I play, I get there, I don't sulk. Teams are not the same, you know. There's traditions everywhere you go. There's culture. There's language barrier. It's a lot of things that you need to adjust to. So the sooner you understand that you're not home and that you're not going to be comfortable, the better it is for you to get on the field, to perform, and not to put yourself under any pressure. Because if you feel like, I have to learn another language, you already, you know, lost the reason why you're going there in the first place. You have to be motivated each and every day. Sometimes you get tired and you feel like you can't go anymore. But I think one thing that motivates me day in and day out is the fact that there's a little girl in South Africa who's admiring me, who's looking up to me. And I don't want to ever disappoint that girl. You know, I don't want that girl to just remember me for, you know, a day or two, but for her own lifetime, to always know that there was this one lady in South Africa who pushed through the barriers, who made a way for other girls to, you know, be recognized as South African female footballers.
Yeah, I mean, it brings me to my next point to say, how do you feel knowing that you are representing the country as a South African female athlete in different countries, irrespective of which club that you're playing in?
It takes me back to what I just said. Know where you come from. There are other girls who come from countries that have leagues. For them, it's easy. Opportunities are there. But for me, it hasn't been easy. You know, I have to work hard to create these opportunities. So it's the same thing as everywhere I go. I go in China, they say, no, you won't survive. Well, that's what you say. I mean, everyone survives differently or reacts differently to situations. And the reason why I can react to those situations is I know that I'm not only representing myself or my family, all those girls in South Africa, you know, I'm representing the whole country. When people see me, when people see the way I play, they think of South Africa. They never think of Thembi. Or wherever I go, it's Thembi from South Africa. So it has to say a lot about where I come from and the people I represent.
And then, I mean, with moving from one club to the next, what are your thoughts on the short contracts? Obviously, now we've come to understand that you guys get short contracts because we don't really have a professional league in the country. But compared to having those longer contracts, is it more beneficial for a player to stay at a club for a long time, or does it work for you from moving from one club to the next?
It depends. I always tell people that it depends. A lot of players, including me, I always opt for a 1-year contract. That way, it's easier because I get to challenge myself for a year. If I feel like I've stepped up, then it's better for me to get into another league that's going to challenge me. One thing about me is I don't want to be comfortable. Hence, I want to, jump from one league to the other. But the aim is to make sure that we get into these big clubs, to make sure that we leave an impact everywhere you go. And yes, it's true. The only teams that are offering longer contracts are the teams that are the best. And what do you have to do to get there? You have to perform. You have to be in these small clubs. You have to get game time. You have to have the best stats. And hence, it's easier for us to appreciate the smaller contracts that we have and use the time that we have, so that by the time a big team wants you, you know that you go in there all in, and the chances are you will get a big contract.
Does it not mess with your stability?
To be honest, no. Like I say, I don't want to be comfortable, I think when you're comfortable, when you know you've signed a contract for 4 years, yes, you'll be motivated. Yes, you will play. But then for me, 4 years is a long time not to be, it's a long time to be comfortable because, it's home. You want to do this, you want to do that. But for me, I adapt easier to situations when I have to start on a new slate, get to understand other cultures, other languages, other levels of leagues. Because everywhere I've went, the standard of football is not the same. Professionalism is not the same. Those are the things also that you experience when you jump from team to team, and you grow as a player. You get different trainings. You grow mentally, physically, emotionally. And those are some of the things you also need to add into and consider when you're a footballer. Because at the end of the day, for you to be stronger, you also need to get to those leagues. You need intensity. You need to be challenged. Because if you're comfortable, for me, yeah, there are other people who work well when they're comfortable, but just not me.
Then what do you think is holding us back in South Africa from getting a fully fledged professional women's league? I mean, we saw with the Women's National League, there were hiccups here and there. Unfortunately, because of COVID-19, it was cancelled. But why is it taking so long for us to get to that point where women's football is professional, especially for women players?
It's my opinion, right? Everyone has an opinion. And since I've played in Europe, my opinion is we need to stop saying women's football in the country deserves to be on the same level as men's football. That's absurd. Men have always created a platform for themselves. We also need to create a platform for ourselves. And I always make an example because, like I say, I play in Europe. I see these things. In Europe, I'm going to make an example with Eibar. I come to Eibar, they have the first team that plays in La Liga, and they have the girls team, right? It's easier to share the resources. But in South Africa, if we had to go back, it's not always the case, We as women are so much powerful that we also need men to help us. If my brother, but why are the girls not getting enough? It's different when a man speaks up than when a woman wants to say, we deserve more. It's different because we are getting into a territory that is being dominated by males, and it's a fact. I can't come to Eibar and say, oh, but I need more money. A boy has to say, but these girls, they dedicate their lives, their careers to football. They deserve more. We look at the national team of Ireland. The guys cut their salaries to make sure that the girls get enough. How many of those teams within the country are willing to fight for the girls? They don't care, Hence, it's quite difficult when girls or women in South Africa who are athletes or the ones in big positions find it difficult to always say we need equality, we need to be on the same. We don't need to be on the same level if we are not using the platform that males already have. You also look in Africa as a whole, where you have AFCON. We have your female AFCON, you have your male AFCON. But the guys that are playing in the male AFCON, most of them play in Europe. But when they get to South Africa, no one cares or no one wants to raise their voice and say, but why? Why are the females not, stepping up? Why are you guys treating the girls like this and us like this? It has to be something that is collective. If the world was turned, how would boys feel that they have to wake up each and every single day and dedicate their lives to football and still earn peanuts, yet the girls are earning a lot of money? You understand what I'm saying? I also refer to the US national team. They are the best. They've won World Cups back to back. They've won Olympics, but yet they're still not earning they're still not earning the same salaries as the boys. And yet the boys within USA have so much power and effect to challenge the federation or the sponsors to say, but these girls perform better than us, you need to invest in them, you need to do this, you need to do that. But no one says anything because boys are comfortable in that space. They feel like, if we had to share our finances, it's going to be difficult. But for me, it's a collective thing. If you want us to become successful as girls, if you want your Kaizer Chiefs, your Orlando Pirates to have female teams, it's up to these guys. They have a much bigger voice than we do. If boys speak something, or for example, if Itumelong Khune says something on Twitter, how many people follow that? How many people engage compared to when a Thembi wants to say something on Twitter? He has a voice, but then where is he using his voice and why is he using his voice? He needs to challenge. If Khune had to say to Kaizer Motaung, but we need a female team, that's something that can be considered compared to when Thembi approaches Motaung and says, we need a female team. You understand? There's a difference between the influence I have and the influence that a male soccer player has in the country.